All right, rowing during pregnancy. Everyone talks about maintaining a strong core during pregnancy, but what about that back? Just as important to keep strong. However, being in this bent over position can get pretty uncomfortable, so I'm just gonna talk about some options, some considerations for bent over rows during pregnancy. So first of all, if I was not pregnant or not giving any modifications, a general standard would be just a wide stance and a nice deep hinge. And I would pull this bell smooth back to my hip, okay? So when you do a row, you want to make sure to keep a 90-degree knee bend. In other words, we don't want to close that angle by rowing to our chest. So I say roll back to the hip so that we keep that open angle. Elbow drives to the ceiling, and last point is we don't want our elbow way outside of our hands, so try to keep those babies stacked. Okay, so we could pull to the outside, might need a little exhale, and we always want to row usually nice and smooth. Smooth is strong, I always say in my classes. So in other words, we don't want this herky-jerkiness. We want to roll the shoulder back. Smooth is strong, right back to where we started, not letting that shoulder go every time. Okay, however, that bent over position is really challenging. Even if you're not pregnant, it becomes super demanding on the back and the legs. So a supported row is probably going to become your go-to, especially like even, second trimester on most likely. So we want to put our hand on a bench or something. And if right leg is back, right arm is rowing. And then same thing, nice and smooth back to the hip, and that's going to feel a lot better. For me, I know later in pregnancy, for whatever reason, it felt really good to be even higher than that. Just be careful with this one because we do want some thoracic spine, so some mid back here. We don't want it to start to be an upright row or really shruggy into the shoulder. So just get as deep a hinge as you can get and as bent over as you can get, pulling again that direction of the bell back toward the hip rather than vertically up toward the ceiling. So just notice that it can feel different depending on how high you're elevating that hand that you're using support with. Another option, if bent over rows are just not happening, not comfortable for whatever reason, or even just to work in, suspension rows are amazing if you have it available. So we want these set up about hip height, walk away from your anchor point, tension on suspension, and we're gonna pull nice and smooth back, down and back to our armpits, but don't bend the wrists. So we don't need to curl the wrists in. When you get to the end of the range of motion, just stop. So the closer you are to your anchor point, the harder it's going to be, the further away, the easier it's going to be. So really easy to kind of scale back and find your proper challenge there. So I hope this helps you keep rowing and keep that back strong during pregnancy. Live epic, be epic.